All right. We go to a town east of Amori, the only designation it has. This small, little village located out the edge holds a single gatherer, one who has much fame within their small little blot of dirt, but hardly heard of outside of it. This humble villager is named Hiyori, traveling back down from the paths of his ancestor. He walks to his door, cracks it open, and steps inside. That familiar air rushing into his face. The smell of herbs, tea mixing together in a pleasant little abode. A fire very lightly simmering. Yuri,
Hello.
you go on inside of your house and let me just put you down. There we go.
Oh, his little house. He comes in, practically takes his shoes off, and takes a very deep scent of whatever is being prepared. What season is it right now?
Oh, the season. Well, it's coming near to the end of spring. Soon it'll be getting into the summer, and it's already started warming up ever so slightly.
So it's probably been a bit cool up in the hills where his roots
Yep.
take him. So he's just basking in the warmth as he takes his shoes off and peeks his head around. Milo! Immediately thump, 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 wraps arms around. I'm home!
They hug their arms back around you as well. Hiyori!
Dinner smells so good! What are you making? He's looking over your shoulder while still being glomped on.
It is most likely a soup.
It's like hot hot tea, that's all tea. It's
it is a soup, most likely consisting of herbs that you had gathered previously. Perhaps even just for a spice of flavor, a touch of mint.
Aww. Soup I'm from my spouse. My spouse is so talented. I can't wait. It's going to be amazing.
You hear a slight noise, just an agitated harumph or something occur from behind the rather thin wall. Some form of engagement is occurring.
Oh, I'll go say hi to Fathers.
Of course.
Rotates around while still having arms around, and then finally pulls himself away and is like, eh.
You step on through and move past the small empty shrine within your house.
Hiyori briefly stops, as he tends to do both before and after a trip outside, and does a quick little prayer of thanks to no one in particular, just whoever's listening, that he came home safely.
With that, you step away from the shrine, a prayer going out into the wilds. And moving to the door, you very lightly announce your presence, and a voice rings out. Your father. Come in, Hiyori.
Hiyori gently opens the door and steps inside.
You step on inside, and across you also notice both of them are engaged in a game of Go right now. And it seems that they are kind of scratching their heads as both seem rather enraptured. However, it seems your father is winning. Ever so silently, the protests emerging from the corner. And then, very lightly, Kozu places a piece forward. And without really much fanfare, your father's very light smile broadens as he places down a stone and manages to capture and the resulting noise of ah, God, why do I even try playing games with you? He kind of stands up. Hiyori, how'd it go?
Hello, Father, Dad. He seems to have been momentarily distracted. See, in his head, whenever he walks in on a battle like this, he has a tendency to fall into imagining the movement of the pieces as soldiers on a battlefield with his father and father-in-law as opposing warlords, and gets a bit swept up in the fantasy. It went very well. Kind of comes in, brings down his pack, and is excitedly pulling out some of the compartments inside. We're reaching the end of the season for them, but I managed to find a great deal of foxtail. He pulls out a great herb with a very bushy appearance. It's probably seemingly useless because it's so fluffy, it doesn't really, you can't really use it for anything, but at the core, the stem actually contains some medicinal properties as long as you gather it at the right time. This will probably fetch, it's a good batch and might fetch a little bit of a higher price since it's starting to go out of season.
Huh, that's some big money-making thing?
Well, maybe a little bit. We'll have to see what prices we can get for it. But it was a good gathering day.
Good. He kind of pays attention back, places the stone deck, and once more the game kind of continues on as, you know when dinner is?
Milo. Hee. Let me just...
He kind of like looks and sees him start running off, and it's like kind of scratches his head. Head in the clouds.
Tap, glomp. How's it going?
It's almost done.
Oh, good. Father will be happy to hear that. Makes no move to go back.
Rotates around with Hiyori still attached.
We should go tell fathers.
Yes, you're right. Happily walks along, still holding onto spouse.
Through door. Closes door.
You get the feeling this man would be fucking intolerable to almost any outside observer.
She always appreciates his company.
He loves them.
Fathers, it is almost done. Listen.
He kind of stops. All right, we'll finish up quick. He kind of stops, and then rapid fire, and then you just start slamming down stones on and it get going pretty quick as he almost slaps down immediately. And then, however, Yuri's father seems not to be so concerned as he simply places down another stone. A rapid response, and continuing like that. A turn that takes a second with a turn that takes 15 minutes, which ends up eventually coming to a conclusion. All right, that's fine. Get out of my room. All of you, I'll be out in a second.
Oh,
he kind of stands up. Good game.
A crushing defeat.
Always.
The forces will be hard pressed to recover from this. Many wounded to tend.
It wasn't a good game. He steps to the side, minds the prayers, and you both step back out into the main room. And as you move, Hiyori, you sort of once more grabbed your bag as you left, and you realize while soup's getting prepared, you should probably put some of the stuff away back inside of your room.
Realizing this, as he always takes some time to do, he gives his spouse a gentle kiss on the forehead, and then hoists his bag and heads into his room while dinner is being finished.
Mhm. So,
Now, which
s-
room is? Oh no, our room is down to the south,
yes.
isn't it?
Yeah, quite simply, you
Yeah.
can go put some stuff in there, and then you can toss all your herb gear up to the top left once you get back out. You step into a room, a little bit of min sitting in a pot as you press on, and back here, that's a spot where you can generally start putting up some personal effects.
He takes his pack down. It's especially well, not exactly designed, but there's not much in the way of artisanal design here, but crafted over time to be better at this and that. Full of hard compartments that won't crush any leaves or roots that he brings back, and begins sorting out his haul from the bulk items, which like purple mustard, uh, that is something common that nevertheless tends to only be at higher altitudes, so you can't be grown so easily down here yet. And then the more minute ones finally ending on the kind of thing that he picks up when he hasn't seen it before or hasn't been able to successfully cultivate it yet. Some clippings and seeds wrapped in paper to keep them from rattling around.
Oh, nice. That's a rather in-depth description as you end up exactly that. You know your stuff as you end up pulling multiple herbs out and wrapping them up. Um, at the end, you manage to piece everything out, and um, you you put all that aside. You manage to wrap it, get everything organized again, have it all ready to take, and the last thing is you pull out a last compartment, one that wasn't holding any herbs, but something interesting you found. You
Oh.
pull out this tiny little shining emblem that you found on the hills. It was quite a strange thing. You're not quite you're not quite sure exactly how it got there, but on your path, a little off, you found just this little shining emblem. This small little perhaps it's religious significance? Maybe it might be some form of not a coin, it's a little oddly shaped for that. But this, everything else taken aside, you'll put in your herb compartments later, but this goes on your special shelf,
Yeah.
along with a number of other doodads and things that have collected from wandering salesmen, travelers from abroad. This is a cabinet for the world, and placing another little piece inside, you leave it there.
I wonder where you could have come from. Well, I suppose if anyone's seen a stranger nearby, I'll have to check and see if they've dropped something, but for now, why don't you keep the rest of them company? Setting them next to his other souvenirs and pieces of a larger world he's never seen.
With that, you then collect the bags that you've managed to separate out and take them back outside of your room.
Set these ones aside to dry. These ones I'll. Oh, I wonder if I could if I pickle vegetables with this one. Oh, I suppose I should try and cultivate more first. Can't spend. Milo! Immediately upon seeing spouse, it goes over again. Is there anything
You
I can help with?
Yes, you can help me with serving
Uh, hands you a ladle.
Unfortunately, your hands are rather tied. You're holding a bunch of bags.
it. Huh?
Ah, right! I should take care of these first. I'll be right there!
Ah.
Got distracted by spouse.
You move over to the side, your father kind of peeking an eye ever so slightly open before closing again. He has a long prayer for the day.
Hiyori, knowing, walks around his old man almost subconsciously. Having this is part of the routine as well, and goes to the storeroom to start sorting the herbs that need storing long term.
You do that, starting to sort everything out. You hear a very slight voice. Ah, come on, old man. I'm sure they're tired of hearing you. Steps on past as eventually you hear the footsteps leading out. You manage to deposit all of your herbs. You combine some things together that you already have stacked up, make a new box for some of the new stuff. and everything gets sorted pretty easily. And eventually, you manage to make your way back out.
Milo's soup smells so good. Goes over to help spouse.
You assist Spoos and manage to take the ladle and help serve out soup to everyone assembled. It's all put down together in this nice, right in front of your nice little hearth. And eventually, after serving it, you all manage to sit down. It seems as though you've been wedged far apart from your spouse, unfortunately.
Yeah, you just
But-
see crying emoji face.
And with that, spouse, just roll a 1d20 for me.
Oh, of course.
Okay,
Oh, wow.
That's good soup. Spouse is good
That's
soup.
higher than I expected.
Yeah, it's not meme food. You have a wonderful vegetable soup that's honestly rather a vegetable soup is delicious in its own right. However, this one is assembled with a number of rare herbs, those that are harder to find yet not particularly expensive to sell. They flavor wonderfully, and the soup itself has almost a minty quality to it as well. Just barely, but it's still mostly just this wonderful, warm concoction.
His fathers have made a misjudgment by keeping them apart. It means he's not cuddling up to his spouse while they're both eating, but instead they're both caught in the crossfire of this lovey-dovey beam shit.
You sort of kind of start yelling across, talking, complimenting, and on the other end, someone slurps down their soup pretty efficiently, and it's just like, "Ah, this is delicious. You did wonderful. Iori, maybe you should learn to cook like this too someday."
Oh, there's no way my cooking could match up to Milo's. But I
Ah,
would
but
have
don't
to...
Than you?
No. Don't even try. He kind of turns over. What about those long expeditions and stuff you take out sometime? You're out there for 1 or 2 days sometimes. What do you eat out there?
Oh, well, there's there's always lots to eat on the mountains. And in the forests, it's just... And I know where to look for everything, so it would just be a bit wasteful to carry anything out, especially since Milo's food is the best when eaten right away while it's still warm.
Yeah, suppose that's true. Ends up taking another slurp, and sort of chipping in for the first time in a little bit. Your father kind of speaks up. Yuri,
What is it, Dad?
going to be doing some maintenance on the roof the next couple of days. Would you be willing to give me a hand?
Dad, you don't have to do that. I said I'd take care of it.
Oh, don't worry about it. You're out doing a bunch of stuff in the mountain.
Well,
Yeah.
for all we know, it's looking it was looking misty, so it might rain soon anyway. So it wouldn't be very safe to go up the mountain anyway.
He kind of considers that. I suppose he, well, you just got back, so don't worry about it tonight.
All right.
He kind of like turns over to the side. Tomorrow, we're both going up there. I know you don't want me climbing up ladders, but what else am I going to do? Beat him in games? He kind of gestures over to his cold shoulder, just like, "Ah." Ends up taking another sip of soup.
The defeated general's pride has remained strong.
And as you continue through with dinner, slight bits of conversation kind of continue to pool out. Do you have anything you wish to bring up, Hiyori, or are you simply enjoying the moment?
Nope, he'll probably just enjoy being home after a long day out, enjoy his lovely spouse's worm soup, and listening to his dads argue. And it take him quite a while before remembering to mention the emblem he found, which will frankly be the most exciting thing anyone has probably talked about all week.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. Yes, that's probably going to be a wonderful conversation topic as things start to filter across. You you kind of contemplate on it a little bit, and then eventually, sort of speaking up, Milo,
Hmm?
the meal was delicious, though he kind of considers a little bit. Uh, hmm. Weren't we supposed to be getting a tea shipment out by tomorrow?
Ah,
their face just kind of puppet mouth.
ah, yes, you're right.
Uh-huh.
Standing up.
Would you
Alright.
mind helping me prepare that, Yuri?
Let me
Yeah.
immediately, as you were saying that, he's already coming over. Let me help with that.
He kind of puts down his soup cup. You know a thing or two about tea packaging?
I know what Milo has shown me. He's
Nah.
he's you know, Milo, you've shown and talked to him about lots of things. He already finds everything you say fascinating, but he tends to get a little lost in his own thoughts. Fortunately, packaging tea is not unlike handling herbs, so he's at least qualified.
That is exactly their thought process.
He kind of looks across. He kind of just waves his hand up. Well, if you're qualified, get going on it.
Holds spouse's hand.
Where would we leave the materials for preparation?
You could well, there's a number of options. Generally, you can set up over here, just like in the central room, since a lot of equipment is located right around here. So generally, you just sort of turn this room into a general packaging site.
I will go ahead and lay out everything, organize it, so it is just easy and simple for us to engage in the packaging process. It's most likely that all of the tea mixes and all of the leaves are here and organized. It is just that they did not remember to package it.
Yeah, that's most likely it. And with that, Kuzo stands up again. Well, let's go. Come on. He kind of shoves at the man's shoulder, kind of stands up. Can't get in their way, right? He stands up and moves back over out this way. And the both of them seem to depart off, leaving you plenty of room left to sort of pick at their packaging. At least, that's what should have happened. But
Oh.
as your father departed, the door closed again, and you notice the man sit down directly in front and start watching the process. Kuzo is a master of tea ceremony and other sorts of sales, and it seems that in this moment, he thought your father might get in the way of these ceremonies, but he might be able to lend a hand via watching very carefully.
Hiyori, who is beginning to drift off into spouse land, is now assaulted from the side by the gaze of judgmental dad.
Which is perhaps exactly why he's here.
Yeah! Honestly, not a bad idea.
He kind of looks across and just sort of taps his finger on the wood impatiently and just watches the process of packaging. I want
Can
you
I
both
roll?
to give me rolls here. Yes,
Yeah!
you both have yeah.
Let's see.
Let's
I
see.
think this would be from your red. So that would be roll to do complex. Choose attribute red.
I feel like Milo would
Oh,
have.
Oh no! The factors have combined!
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Normally, Hiyori can get into a good rhythm with his spouse, even if he does occasionally get so carried away that he forgets to keep working. But now, every time he gets carried away, he is conscious of his father's judgmental stare. And this makes the action he was going to take move to the wrong one in a stretch. And eventually, he's just over here in the corner, leaning into the bonsai, looking ashamed.
You end up leaning into the bonsai ashamed as this entire encounter plays out, and eventually you're edged out of the tea making ceremony.
He is totally
Milo.
sulking as he as he pokes at planted sprouts that don't need any actual maintenance.
Milo picks up the remnants of whatever Hiyori had at the very least tried to produce, and just quietly goes,
I guess we'll call this one the Hiyori blend.
Mm.
Aww.
He kind of leans over a cross and kind of sees that selection. Oh, no, split those up. Those look terrible.
And immediately, he perked up when he said Hiyori blend, immediately sulking again further into the corner.
And eventually, the packaging process takes some time. And after watching for a little bit, eventually he gets so fed up, he starts coming over and lending a hand as well
yeah.
to just get the order quicker across. And as you sort of poke away at that bonsai, eventually you're kind of left just sitting there with empty hands in your own house. And I want you to roll to die for me.
Roll to die. Oh.
I just want to see where you're taken. I see where you are. Okay, yeah. You are your husband's stat side.
So what he's gonna do is he's gonna go stand up after being it's like oh no now she had to get dad to get father to help, because it's like immediately goes over to the kitchen and starts getting water for them and just sort of hovering, going in the background like a slightly scolded dog, but can I do anything to help? Can I help?
You end up giving water, and they sort of accept it rather easily, and eventually kind of chirking over. You look skittish. What's wrong?
I didn't. I want to help out, Father. I would like. It just started tripping over himself.
You already helped. You got herbs. You got money. Don't do anything else. Why don't you take a nap?
Pouting. But Milo is working.
He kind of checks over. Is just like, He kind of just takes the drink of the water again and slams the cup down. Well, why don't you just, kind of scratches his head a bit. Oh, I know. Why don't you go get boxes and start putting the packages in the boxes? The big ones for carrying on carts.
Yoink yeets to his feet. Absolutely, Father. Good idea. Leans over, kisses spouse on cheek, then hops out, puts his shoes back on, and starts hopping out to go get the boxes.
You do so, running out for a second. Milo, you're left alone with your father, ever so temporarily.
You know, you could just show him how to do it.
He kind of checks up and is like, oh, why?
Well, Hiyori's a good listener.
Maybe to you. He kind of, that boy's mind drifts off quicker than... He kind of thinks a little about that. What's quicker than that boy's mind drifting off? He seems to get caught up on that for a little bit. And then a big dumb smile forms on his face. Quicker than I lose and go. He sort of grabs a box again.
Maybe you wouldn't lose as fast if you didn't make moves so fast.
He kind of turns over. I go as slow as I please, but dinner was coming up. We had to end the game before then, I hate leaving things sitting in progress. He sort of continues, and that seems to check out as he's once more continues shoving tea in the packages.
Much like tea, sometimes things need to sit.
This is absolutely something that he has said to them.
Yes, it is. He sort of ends up quieting up after that until eventually Hiyori, you stumble in, the bell at your door ringing loudly as you kind of income with a big box in between your arms, kind of stumbling
I have
loose.
boxes.
Kicking off the shoes. Hey, oh, be careful with that.
just gonna quickly roll to...
Ah.
Stumbles, barely manages to catch it, thunks onto his knees on the deck, sits there for a second, desperately trying not to make a loud noise in pain, brightens up again. Here we go!
Immediately helps him up.
He kind of looks across and, all right, Hiyori, come here.
Coming, father. Do. More careful with the box.
Yeah, he kind of Milo, you wonder if maybe this will be it, as he ends up turning over. Put these in the box.
Immediately brightens up. Yes, father. Very, very serious.
You again
Of course.
start shuffling these little packages of tea inside of the box, and then at a point, he sort of just starts putting in packages as well, and kind of stands up. All right, put that out back. We'll take care of it later. It's a little too late to start shipping things out now.
Yes, it's starting to get dark outside. All right, I'll put it outside. Steps around. You could tell while he was showing him how to put everything away. Hiyori has a tendency when it's just him and spouse to go, "Ooh, what's this? Where's this one from?" And that's often part of why he gets distracted. He sort of just drifts off while she tells him about the origin and where the tea might go. He works hard to keep himself focused while packing this box, though.
So you step outside, put it out back, and then head on in again. And as you do that, you end up stepping in and sort of just checking around the room again and thinking, okay, well, if there's a package delivered, tomorrow might be a little busier. You might actually need to take that all the way down to Imori Village later. That might cut into some... But you also really want to get some of the last herbs of the season before things start changing too much. So it's all... You suddenly gotten pretty busy all of a sudden.
Maybe I can ask Dad to fix the roof with me another day. No, but he'll just go up on his own if I don't help him.
You end up stepping outside once more, moving into the living room, as there seems to just be some idle conversation that ends when you enter, as Kuzo looks at you again. Hiyori.
Yes, father.
He kind of checks across at you again and is just like, Milo wants me to teach you a bit about tea making.
Eyes brighten and immediately has to make himself look serious to tamp down on the excitement. I would be honored, father.
He kind of thinks about that. What's time looking like? He kind of considers in his brain ever so slightly. Package delivery. When are you able to learn?
He thinks about that, going through the not often needed skill of planning his time. Well, if it looks rainy tomorrow, I'll need to help Dad fix the roof. But if it's not, I'll want to go up into the mountains to try and get one more harvest of foxtail. Would the day after tomorrow be acceptable, Father?
He kind of considers that. And what about the package delivery?
Forgot completely. That's right, it has to go to Amori. If that needs to be done tomorrow, that needs to be done tomorrow.
Just a week from now.
Thank you very much, Father. I'm looking forward to it.
He kind of stands up again, slowly shuffling up apart. Yes. Excuse me.
Moves aside respectfully.
He moves across, closing the door, and it seems after a torrent of things... Yeah,
immediately glomp. Did you talk to him from me?
Yeah.
Milo, I love you so much!
I love you so much, Yuri.
I should mention these two aren't newlyweds. They've been like this for at least a few years.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Fucking intolerable. I love them.
That's freaking funny. You both end up giving a big hug, and insufferably and adorably, the both of you spend the rest of your evening like this, talking, chatting, recycling over the same few things, and enjoying a rather provincial, peaceful life. And there, I think, it's a pretty good place to call it for now.